Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So today I wanted to have a discussion on why RWBY Volume 7 should not have a time skip. So I want to go over the history of RWBY and time skips that RWBY has had, and I want to really talk about why Volume 7 itself should actually not have a time skip. So sit back, relax, I hope you all enjoy, and let's go ahead and get started. So when looking at Atlas, that's going to be the next big event that's going to happen. And the way that RWBY Volume 6 ended off, the characters had just flown to Atlas and they just saw the military right in front of them as if they're prepared for an attack, and then they welcome Weiss home. So the thing is, this doesn't need to have a time skip at this point, and I really want to go over that, and let's go over the history first of time skips in RWBY. So if you go all the way back into Volume 1, RWBY Volume 1 had a few time skips during the events of Volume 1, actually. So, of course, you have whenever everybody becomes a part of a team, and then you have Jean's arc. In between the team members being put together and assembled, and then the time that you have Jean's arc, you have at least 2 to 3 weeks between them. Then, of course, you have the issue between Weiss and Blake. So the issue between Weiss and Blake is a month after Jean's arc occurs. So if you were to look at the history of the events that occur within Volume 1, you have at least a month and then 2 to 3 weeks of just time that has been fast forwarded, that has had a time skip in it. So that's what they did with Volume 1, and then of course, if you go between the time skip of Volume 1 to Volume 2, that's about 3 weeks to a month within the time skip there. So you've already got that span of time as well to add on top of the one that you had in Volume 1, and in Volume 2, if anything, it's probably about a couple of weeks, but for the most part, most of the things that occur are usually daily. So there's not too much of a time skip when it comes to Volume 2 as opposed to Volume 1. But then, of course, the difference between Volume 2 and Volume 3, you have RWBY Grim Eclipse that occurs, which is 2 weeks before the events of Volume 3 and the Vital Festival. But with the 2 weeks that go on before Volume 3, that would be when Morlot, which is RWBY Grim Eclipse, that occurs. So you have that going on, and then you get to Volume 3, and Volume 3 seems to be more so daily, if anything. It doesn't really have a time skip up until the finale, and that's after the CCT tower was destroyed by the Wyvern, and Pyrrha died, and RWBY activated her Silver Eye. So there is a time skip at that point after Beacon falls, and then RWBY awakens in her home, which that is at least about a day to 2 days. So it's really not that long, and then the final time skip in Volume 3 is when RWBY decides to leave with Team Ranger, and that's at least a month after that event had occurred. So overall, when it comes to Volume 3, there wasn't really a big time skip other than the most being a month yet again. So then the biggest time skip occurs in RWBY Volume 4, and that is 6 months after the moment of the fall of Beacon and Volume 3. So, considering that there is a 6-month time skip, that is the longest time skip that the series has seen thus far. And after that, though, there is a lot of thoughts and theories that come into how the timeline exactly worked out, because it's so strange there, and it's never really been answered as to how the timeline exactly worked, because you have Weiss's story, you have Team Ranger, you have Blake's story. Now, when it comes to this situation, some fans believe that it had occurred with certain stories happening first. For example, they believe that RWBY's story may have been the last one, as well as Weiss might have been the first one, and then Blake may have been the second one, and Yang may have been the third one, or Yang may have been the first one, and then it goes Weiss and Blake, and then RWBY's story. So there are some fans that believe that the timeline may have actually been these events had been occurring, and then RWBY's story had been the 6-month time period, some of it leading up, because if you notice back in Volume 4, the focus is stretched to, I would say, its limits, trying to tell 4 stories at one time, which kind of did become a bit of a problem, trying to stretch the focus out that much to tell that many stories at one time, and it just felt all over the place, and it's kind of hard to determine the time period because, like I said, there's so many stories that are trying to be told at one time, and we don't know if one event may have occurred during the other, or if it had been occurring before another. So it's very hard to really tell when this exactly happened, when some of these events occurred. So there's that. But then after Volume 4, the events of Volume 5 then occur. Now, while there wasn't a time skip in Volume 5, there were issues with the beginning of Volume 5. First off, let me start with Crow. Crow was doing just fine. He was healthy, but that doesn't make sense. Not only that, but Team Ranger, they were all walking through a passageway. Now, the reason why this is inconsistent is because if you remember at the end of Volume 4, they had just got done fighting the Nukalave, and airships came and saved them and took them to Mistral. Now, you would think that at the end of Volume 4, with also seeing RWBY, which she's left-handed, and they had her be right-handed, when writing her letter to Yang for some reason, and that's kind of strange because Monty confirmed all the way back in Volume 1 that RWBY and Weiss are both left-handed, while Blake and Yang are both right-handed. So I don't know if this is just the writers forgetting that. But at the same time, if you remember at the end of Volume 4 also, when RWBY is writing this letter, Crow is lying in the bed, and he is still ill from the poison, and he's still trying to recover from it. And they already have the place that they're staying in. So they already have this place, and with the inconsistency of Volume 5 in its start, it's like they had a weird rewind in time to where Crow is perfectly okay, and they don't even have the place they're staying in yet. So it's very bizarre, it's so out of place, and it's one thing that really bothers me about Volume 5 is that start. That start just bothers me, it's so inconsistent, and it retcons Crow's health, so that didn't make any sense to me. But moving forward, the thing is, they have a month time skip in Volume 5 as well because they had to wait a month before the Battle of Haven started. But that's the only time skip that really happened in Volume 5. And then Volume 6 starts off with its time skip of 2 weeks, which I think was a problem because I think they could have just continued on from where they left off rather than just jumping forward in time by 2 weeks. Because not every volume, in my opinion, has to have a time skip. There doesn't always have to be a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, whatever. I don't think there has to be a time skip every time. And the way the Volume 6 left off, I think that they don't need to have a time skip because Weiss had just been welcomed back home by the Atlas army, and then at the same time, Atlas is preparing for war, which could then kind of leave the whole idea open to the conversation of why they're prepared, what's going on, rather than them having a time skip, already having them talk about it, know what's getting ready to happen. They could at least leave the audience there to gather the information rather than, oh, look, they're automatically prepared. What are they going to do? Or what's their thoughts? How are they going to react to this? And I think it would be better if they don't jump ahead in time so that, for one, they can hear what the Atlas military's plans are, maybe talk to Ironwood himself or Winter, and try to come up with a plan, whatever that may be, rather than skip ahead knowing what the plan is and just already try to be prepared for it. I think it would be better that way if they tried that, while at the same time maybe exploring a little bit of Atlas, getting the characters to learn about it in that way and world build. I think it would be better that way. But anyways, let me know what you think down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. But anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. And if you did enjoy, hit the video with a like. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Share this video with your friends if you found this informative or useful. And follow me on Discord. Link is in the description down below. But anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you. And have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.